guys, my name is Musawashim Baiwa. I'm a lecturer at the Management, Accounting and Finance Department, and today I'm going to go through the revision of the CTA Level 2 in full-time mid-year exams, specifically required F. So required F wanted you to identify and describe any advantages and disadvantages of 21st financing the Q brand acquisition using its own cash resources, giving us a total of 8 marks. So my task today is I'm going to revise it, to go through the interpretation of the required with you. From there, we discuss the common errors that we noted when we were marking your scripts, because we don't want you to repeat the same errors. And from there, we want to discuss the possible reasons for these errors. So if we have an understanding of what caused these possible reasons, we can be able to correct for better results next time. So let's get right into it. So in terms of the interpretation of the required, students also expected to outline the advantages and disadvantages of 21st financing the Q brand acquisition using its own cash resources. So cash resources could mean cash as in your cash in hand, your bank, as well as retained earnings as a source of funding. So I think that's where most of us miss the part where retained earnings is considered as a cash resources as part of the sources of funding for this option. So in line with this, I think this was one of the easiest required. So the advantages and disadvantages, if we have an understanding of what are known as cash resources, I'm sure we can be able to highlight advantages and disadvantages. So you go through the suggested solution. We've put through some advantages and disadvantages of using cash resources. I will take that again. Cash resources refers to cash, that is your cash in bank, your cash in hand, as well as retained earnings. So from there, we noted that as common errors, students were discussing other financing options for consideration by 21st. So when you go back to the scenario, they could have financed the Q brand acquisition using their cash resources, or they could have used those convertible preference shares, or they could have used debt funding through a loan. So some students were rather discussing on the other financing options instead of discussing the advantages and disadvantages of using cash resources. And a possible reason for the pitfall is failure to interpret the required. So if you incorrectly interpreted the required, you are likely going to end up discussing points which were, or raise points which were invalid for this specific financing option. So please, after you've gotten through your scripts, go through specifically required F, take this your solution and the suggested solution, you reattempt required F based on what we've discussed just now, and if you are able to interpret the required as is, and you're able to generate some of the points or most of the points that are on the suggested solution, I say you're in the correct or in the right direction. But if you're unable to raise these points even after attempting, reattempting, and going through this specific video, please feel free to come for a consult and we can discuss the specific issues why you are not comprehending or you are not understanding or interpreting the required correctly. So if you go through, you go back to the specific section where there is Q brand acquisition, and it tells you additional information on what cash resources they want to specifically use. From there, I'm sure you can be able to make your way out and discuss advantages, that is the merits of using the method or the benefits accruing from using cash resources, and the disadvantages from using the cash resources. Thank you for taking your time to go through this video lecture, this revision video lecture. See you next time.